the same style, rectangle.
It's a
So
rectangle.
it's about 1 foot and 3.5 feet up. It goes that way.
High. Okay, so about 3.5 feet high and about 1 foot wide?
Yes.
And what side of the air conditioning unit is that on?
It'd be on the, if the air conditioning is facing that way, where the air would blow out, it'd be on the right of it.
No. Let's look at it. If you walk into your guest house,
Yes.
actually, let's do it on the diagram. In your unit,
My air conditioning.
show us where the bathroom would be on this diagram, the defense diagram. For the record, can the court see where he's pointing? For the record, he's pointing to the area that appears to designate a sink and a toilet off of Kato's room. And where would the bathroom window be?
Right. We're going to bring that.
And the witness indicated a point just after the entry into the bathroom. And where would the air conditioning unit be?
Okay.
Okay. And you indicated that you heard the thugs come from where?
This area here.
The air conditioning unit. Would it be to the west side or the east side of the air conditioning unit that you told the officer you heard the thumps?
Oh, the thumps I heard to this side, to the
west side.
to the west side.
Okay. So that bathroom window was to the east of the air conditioner, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was a narrow window.
Yes.
Now, when you went inside and spoke to the other detective, you were seated in the bar area, weren't you?
Yes, it was.
And then you told that detective about hearing the thumps on the wall, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And you were still pretty excited about everything that was going on, including having heard the thumps the night before. Isn't that true?
I was excited about the night before.
About the thumps you had heard, about seeing the officers at your door?
Oh, yeah, everything, yes.
Okay. And do you recall telling that detective at that time, when you were seated in the bar, about the defendant being picked up by a limo that night, that he must have you thought he must have overslept because the limo was waiting a long time? Do you remember telling him that?
Yeah, I think I told the story of the entire night
To the detective seated in the bar?
at the bar.
And to the best of your knowledge, as you were telling that detective, you thought that the defendant was in Chicago?
That he was in Chicago, yes.
Was it the detective at the bar that asked to see the keys to the Bronco?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember which one?
It wasn't at the bar when they asked that.
Where were you?
I was in the kitchen then.
Were you moving around the house pretty much once you went inside?
I mean, I know I think I put pants on at one point, but I don't know when, and I don't know. I remember going to the kitchen, and I remember the kids came. It was a lot of confusion for me.
You felt pretty confused and pretty disoriented that morning after having been woken up between 5 and 6 in the morning, is that right?
Yes, and I'll tell you about the
Yeah.
kitchen.
Yeah, and you went into the kitchen at some point?
Yes,
Was Arnelle there?
yes.
Okay. And you spoke to Arnelle at some point?
At some point, Arnelle came in to bar area, went back, and I believe that's when she heard the news. I can't be positive, but it just added to everything again.
It was a pretty confusing scene
Yes,
and pretty upsetting.
yes.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Was it a police officer that told you about what had happened to Nicole Brown?
No,
Who was it that told you that?
I had heard it from the area in the kitchen, and Arnelle kind of screamed. I was upset, and I heard that.
And you could not tell who was saying it?
No.
Was it Arnelle?
I don't know if it was repeated to her. I mean, I can't be positive who said it to her now.
But you heard it being said?
Yes.
Was it by a male voice or a female voice?
It was from her voice after she had heard it.
So you heard her reaction, you didn't hear what was being told to her?
Yes.
And from that, you deduced that what had happened to Nicole Brown?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that you saw the defendant leave in a limo, is that right?
Yeah, OJ left in a limo. Yes, I saw that.
Okay. Did you?
No, I'm gonna pose an objection at this time.
Just let me ask you one thing. Are you going to be?
Oh, you know what? Let me just confer with both counsel.
Your Honor, inasmuch as the purpose of these proceedings is to determine whether Mr. Simpson should be a defendant, we would object to the recurring characterization by the prosecution of Mr. Simpson as the defendant.
Well, whether or not he should be a defendant is a question, but right now he is the defendant in this case. So I don't see a problem with his being referred to in that fashion.
Thank you, Your Honor. You knew that he left in a limo that night, is that right?
Yes.
You did not, of your personal knowledge, see him get on a plane for Chicago?
No.
Now, Mr. Kaelin, you had been living there for about 6 months as of the night these events occurred, is that correct?
Yes.
And were you able to have friends come over and visit you in that unit?
Yes.
And you were able to, in fact, have people spend the night with you in that unit, weren't you?
My choice, yes.
And you were able to use the pool facilities when you wanted to, weren't you?
Yes.
And you were also able to use the tennis court when you wanted to?
Yes.
And you were allowed to come and go as you pleased?
Yes.
Did you also perform chores and odd jobs for the defendant in return for being allowed to stay there?
No, he never asked me to do anything. I mean, if he said something, I would do it. But
Your Honor, I would
I didn't.
object to this as beyond the scope of the direct, unless counsel is making Mr. Kaelin her witness again, in which case questions should not be leading.
Ms. Clark?
That's true, Your Honor. I'll take him on direct.
All right.
Thank you. And Mr. Kaelin, did you perform any chores that the defendant would ask you to perform?
Can you say that again?
Yes. If the defendant asked you to do things around the house, would you do them?
Yes. If you'd ask me, I would definitely just do something.
What sort of things did he ask you to do?
He never asked me anything, really. If I wanted to feed the dogs, he just asked, can you feed the dog? Sure. But nothing, paint the house or anything, nothing like that.
No, I don't mean that. What's... That'd be quite a house to paint. What else would you do around there for the defendant?
But really nothing, unless he said so. There's nothing he really asked me to do. Feed the dogs is really about it.
That's all?
Okay.
Feed the dogs?
And barely that, yeah. That's it.
And what?
Barely even that. Just, I kind of want to do that sometimes.
Did he ever ask you to watch the property for him or to stay on the property when he was gone?
No.
Did he ever ask you to go and pick something up at the store for him?
No. Well, Gigi, the housekeeper, would ask me that sometimes. I do it.
Okay. Did you do odd jobs around the house, sir?
No.
No?
Odd jobs, feeding the dogs, is that odd
Feeding the
job?
dogs? Sure, anything
Sure,
that you
I
do.
would do that, but I would just do that.
What other things would you do?
I guess go to the store for Gigi if she needed something to be picked up. I think that's about it.
Anything with respect to the laundry or dry cleaning?
I would do that too, but my laundry.
Okay. Would you do anything for the defendant in that regard? Pick it up for him from the dry cleaners if you needed you to?
If I needed to pick up something, I would, yes.
Did you do any babysitting for the defendant at any time?
Watch the kids, I would do that regardless, yes. You know, if OJ wanted to golf and all, I'd volunteer to watch the kids, sure.
Or take them to the movies?
Sure, yes.
That would be part of taking care of the kids, right?
I'd take them to a movie if they wanted to go, sure.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Mr. Uelmen?
Mr. Kaelin, you referred to the window in your bathroom as a narrow window,
Rectangle. It is a rectangular shape.
about 2 feet wide.
Objection, that mistakes the testimony.
It's a question, Ms. Clark.
No, I'm asking you, how wide was it?
The wide, it'd be just like about, what's that, about 14 inches wide, and I think about 3.5 feet height.
All right. Is it wide enough so that you could stick your head out or your body out through the window?
If you crank the window enough in my room, I think you could stick your head out. There's a screen there also.
Mhm. And does the screen come off from inside?
I don't know if it does. I think the screen comes off, but I don't know how it comes off.
Now, from that window, you can see into the walkway area behind your room, can you not?
If I'm sticking my head out,
Yes.
I've never done it. I can see outside the window.
Can you see into the area where the air conditioner is?
I think you could.
Now, when the officers were questioning you about what had happened the night before, you told them about the thumps you heard on the wall between 10 and 11 p.m., is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Did you indicate that you had heard any unusual noises at all after 11 p.m.?
Nothing unusual, no.
All right. And you were in your room essentially from 11 p.m. until the officers woke you up at 5 a.m., were you not?
About 11:15 on, I was in my room.
All right.
11:15.
And there was nothing that led you to be alarmed about any unusual events on the premises after 11:15, was there?
Besides the noise?
That's
No,
right.
that's it.
Did you ask Mr. Simpson's permission to use the jacuzzi on the premises?
Yes, I did.
And
That
actually-
night I did, yes.
Actually, the first time you had used the jacuzzi was that evening before, is that correct?
Oh, I swam in the pool before, and then you can swim into the jacuzzi and back, but I never actually sat down and had the jets on.
And about how often would you say you fed the dogs?
Certain times, twice a week. It was Gigi, the housekeeper, would sometimes just say, "Do you have time to feed the dogs?" I go, "Sure."
Okay, so it wasn't your regular responsibility to feed the dogs?
No, it wasn't my responsibility.
Just occasionally you were asked to do that?
Yeah,
By Gigi?
by Gigi, and sometimes I would just do it.
Well, essentially, would it be fair to say that you were treated like a member of the family?
Yes.
And when you took the kids to the movies, was that as a favor for Nicole?
I just liked doing it. I didn't think of it as being a favor at all.
Okay, but Nicole was the one who asked you to do that?
Yeah, Nicole would ask me to do it, or whoever would ask me, I would do it. I don't remember exactly who would ask me, but I would do it.
Thank you.
Ms. Clark, anything further?
One question, though. Mr. Kaelin, you were not paying rent in terms of money, were you?
On Rockingham,
Right.
I was not.
Didn't you feel like you owed it to the defendant to do things around the house when asked in return for that?
Owed it, I mean, I did not mind at all. I didn't really think of it owing it, I just would do it.
You would do what he asked you to do.
If he asked me to do something, I would do it.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Uelmen, do you want to have the last word?
No, witness
right.
may be excused.
Now, as to the motion, he is excused. I think you had reserved cross-examining him with regard to the preliminary hearing in general. Do you wish to do that at this point in time, or do you want to reserve that further? All right. Thank you, Mr. Kaelin. You may step down. You're subject to being recalled, and please do not discuss your testimony with anyone. Thanks. All right, we are going to take, yes.
I ask that he not be excused with respect to either the motion or the preliminary hearing and remain on call as to both.
All right.
Thank you.
You haven't been excused at all, but you may step down and I guess go back up those elevators to
Gosh.
wherever you came
Right.
from. All right, thanks. It's 2:45. We're going to take the afternoon break at this time until 3 o'clock. In the case of People versus Simpson, the defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented. Mr.
Thank
Uelmen.
you. The defense would like to call Arnelle Simpson.
Face the clerk, please, and raise your right hand.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Please be seated. State and spell your name for the record.
Arnelle Lorraine Simpson, A-R-N-E-L-L-E.
Yeah, Lorraine,
L-O-R-A-A-I-N-E. Simpson, S-I-M-P-S-O-N.
thank you. You may inquire.
Ms. Simpson, are you related to Mr. O.J. Simpson?
Yes, I am.
And how are you related?
His daughter,
And how old are you?
25.
Do you live with the Mr. Simpson at the family home on Rockingham?
Yes, I do.
And how long have you lived there?
For a year and 4 months.
And we have a chart to your left there that lays out the premises. Could you show us where on that chart your room is located? All right, and you're pointing to the portion of the guest quarters marked Arnelle's room?
Yes.
Now, were you in that room on the morning of Monday, June 13th?
Yes, I was.
And were you awakened that morning by police officers?
Yes, I was.
Approximately what time of the morning did they wake you up?
It had to be about 5:30 in the morning.
5:30?
Yes.
And did the officers tell you why why they were there?
No, they did not.
All right, could you recount for us what was said?
They were knocking on my door. I went and opened the door. There were two detectives standing there. They asked me who I was. I told them that I was Arnelle Simpson, they had said that they had been outside trying to get inside the house, that they were ringing the bell. And I said, oh, I didn't hear them. And then they asked me where my father was. And I said that I believe that he was out of town. They said, do you know how to get in touch with him? I said, yes, I do. I said, do you know how to, can you get in touch with him? I said, yes, I can.
All right. Now, how were you dressed at this point?
I was in pajamas.
And did you lead the officers then into the house?
Yes, I did. I walked outside my house, outside the door of my room, and went to the front of the house, turned off the alarm, and walked in the house.
All right. So you walked all the way around outside,
Yeah.
around the perimeter of the house. Do you want to indicate with the pointer the path that you followed?
I walked from here this way into the front door.
You're indicating you crossed a rear patio area?
Yeah, right here.
And then around the path.
Uh-huh.
Now, did you actually go in the front door of the house
I
or
went
into
into
the
the
door to the kitchen?
The front door.
The front door?
Yeah,
And you disarmed the alarm?
the alarm.
And you led the officers into the kitchen?
Into the kitchen.
How many officers were with you at that point?
There were 2 officers with me.
Now, when you entered the kitchen, did they ask you to make a telephone call?
Yeah, they did.
And who did you indicate you were going to call?
I said that I didn't know exactly where my father was, but I could call somebody that would know where he was.
And who was that?
Cathy Randa,
And who is Cathy Randa?
my father's assistant.
All right. And did you have Cathy's telephone number right there?
Not right there. I had to walk out the kitchen door to my car to get my phone book.
All right.
from
Now,
my
where
car.
was your car parked?
My car was parked right here.
And could you describe the car?
It's a black Saab.
Now, you're indicating the little indented portion of the driveway leading out to Rockingham?
Yeah, right here. My car was parked towards this end.
And after you obtained your telephone or address book,
Mhm.
you went back into the kitchen?
Yes, I did.
And did you place the telephone call?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall about what time you placed that call?
5:45.
And did you speak to Cathy Randa?
Yes, I did.
Now, at this point, were you aware of why the officers were there?
Yes, I was.
How did you become aware of that?
When I was walking out to my car, one of the officers followed me, and I had asked him, I said, I need to know what is going on. And he then told me that Nicole was murdered and somebody else was with her.
All right. Did, at any time up to this point, did any of the officers indicate to you that they were concerned that a suicide or murder might have taken place on the Rockingham premises?
No, they did not.
Did they indicate they were concerned that anyone might be hurt or bleeding on the premises?
No,
Did they ask you whether anything unusual had happened the night before?
no.
You placed the call to Cathy Randa?
Yes, I did.
Could you describe the conversation you had with her?
I called Cathy and I said, Cathy, I have some really horrible news. And then I started to cry and I handed the phone over to the detective.
And the remaining conversation was with the detective and
And Cathy, yes.
At the conclusion of that conversation, did you place any other telephone calls?
Yes, I did.
Who else did you call?
I called Al Collins, AC.
And did you at some point leave the kitchen area to
Yes, I
get
did.
dressed?
Yes.
Went back to your room?
I went back to my room. In fact, I made the phone call from my room to AC.
And did you at some point leave the premises to retrieve the children?
Yes, I did.
And where did you go to retrieve the children?
I went down to the police station to pick up the kids.
And you
and
brought them back to the
Brought them
premises?
immediately back to the house.
Did, at any point in this process, did you place a call to Nicole's mother?
Yes, I did.
And did you tell her the news?
I attempted to tell her, and then the detective ended up telling Judy.
Now, at some point, were you asked to leave the premises at 360 North Rockingham?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall about what time that was?
It had to have been around 7:15, 7:30.
All right. So by 7:15 to 7:30, you had already retrieved the children and brought them back to the premises?
Oh, yes.
And the officers at that point asked you to leave?
Yes.
Now, at the time the officers arrived at between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, was anyone else on the premises other than yourself and Kato Kaelin?
No.
Is there a maid who lives on the premises?
Yes, there is.
And what is her name?
Gigi.
And Gigi was not on the premises?
No, she was not.
And why is that?
She has the weekends off.
Every weekend?
So far, yes.
All right. And did you explain that to the officers?
I believe I did, yes.
Now, I believe you had returned to the premises late the night before?
Yes, I did.
And where had you been?
At a movie,
And about what time did you get back?
about 1 o'clock.
And you were asleep then from 1 o'clock until the officers woke you up?
Yes, I was.
All right. Anything that caused you concern about what was going on the premises during that entire period?
Mm-mm. No,
You were unaware of any strange noises or any strange occurrences?
no.
At any time, did you tell the officers that they had your permission to search the premises or to seize any property on the premises?
No, I did not.
At any point, did any officer ask you if he could take any item of property from the premises?
No.
How about any documents, letters, envelopes, anything of that nature?
Yeah, at one time, the officer had asked me if he could take an envelope that he had written on, and I said no, because it was a bill of mine.
And that was in the kitchen?
Yes, it was in the kitchen.
Do you recall which officer that was?
Lang, Officer Lang.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Ms. Clark?
On the night of June the 12th, did you go out at some point that night?
Yes.
Were you staying full-time at the Rockingham residence at that time?
Yes, I was.
What time did you go out?
I had been out all day. I'd left, at around 10:30, and had returned at around 1.
You left 10:30 in the morning?
Yes.
And you got back at 1 in the morning?
Yes.
And you had not been back in the house that entire time?
Yes, I had.
When?
At around 11:30,
In the morning or at night?
morning.
And you came back at 11:30 for what purpose?
I had gone to church, and I came home to change.
Okay. And you changed clothes and left again?
Yes.
At what time?
At around 12:30.
And then did you come back to the house again between 12:30 p.m. and 1 a.m.?
No, I did not.
So you were out that entire time?
Yes.
You drive the black Saab?
Yes.
When you came home at 1 in the morning, did you drive that Saab that day?
Yes, I
When you
did.
went out? And when you came back, did you park it in the driveway?
Yes, I did.
Where did you park it? You're showing us on the defense diagram?
Yes.
Thank you. And you pointed to the area, that just below that area is written the word driveway on the Rockingham side of the residence?
Yes.
Now, when the officers first came to your door, they asked you where your father was, is that right?
Yes.
And you indicated to them that, I believe he's out of town?
Yes.
You were unsure then?
No.
You told them, I believe he's out of
I
town.
believe he's out of town, but, I mean, I knew he was gone, I just didn't know where he was,
You didn't
out of
know-
town.
Did you know when he had left?
Yes, I did.
Did you tell them that?
No, I did not.
Did you know when he was due back?
No, I did not.
Did you know where he was staying?
No, I did not.
And when they were asking you about your father's whereabouts, you were, I assume, concerned.
Yes, I was.
And so you wanted to, I assume, find out where he was.
Yes.
And so you let the officers in so that you could find that out and perhaps get their help if needed, right?
Yes.
And in order to do that, you had to disarm the alarm because it was set.
Yes.
When you went into the house, were there any lights on in the house?
I don't recall.
And the officers asked you to show where the maid's room was?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall them asking you about the maid when they
Yes.
came in? Do you recall them asking whether she was all right or where she stayed? What room she kept?
No.
Do you recall showing them where she slept?
No.
Is it that you don't recall? It might have happened, but you do no longer remember?
I don't recall doing that, no.
Is it a fact that the maid's bedroom is off the kitchen?
Yes.
And do you recall the officers asking you whether that bedroom was the maid's room?
No.
You don't remember anything about that?
No.
You recall telling the officers that you had been out all night at the movies and you just got back about 1 a.m.?
Yes.
Now, you said that you explained to the officers that the maid has weekends off.
Yes.
Was that when you were in the house with them, when they were asking about where the maid was?
No, that's when I was walking from my room inside the house. They had asked me, does anybody else live here?
And you said, yes, the maid does?
Yes.
And when you got into the house, did they ask where she was at that time?
No, they asked me outside. They had said, does anybody live here? And I said, yes. They said, who? I said, Gigi. Then they asked me, is she here? I said, no.
And were you in the house at that point?
No.
You were on your way into the house?
Yes.
You went to pick up the children at the police station?
Yes.
How far away was that from from the Rockingham address?
Well, we live in Brentwood, so it was in Santa Monica. Maybe 4 miles away.
Okay. 4 miles?
Yeah, I'm estimating. I don't know really how far it is.
What time did you finally go to sleep the night before? You got home at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
on June the 13th. What time did you go to sleep?
Maybe around 1:30.
And they woke you up just 4 hours later?
Yes.
A little bit tired when they woke you up?
Yeah.
A little bit confused with seeing police officers at your door?
Yes.
Feeling a little bit frazzled or disoriented by seeing them and hearing what might be bad news
Yes.
before you heard it?
Yes.
Thank you. I've nothing further.
Mr. Uelmen, anything further?
Nothing further than that.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. You may step down. Please do not discuss your testimony with anyone.
The defense at this time would like to call Cathy Randa.
face the clerk, please, and raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please be seated. Stay and spell your name for the record.
Cathy, the C, Randa, R-A-N-D-A.
You may inquire.
Ms. Randa, are you employed by Mr. O.J. Simpson?
Yes, I am.
In what capacity?
I'm his administrative assistant,
And how long have you been employed as his administrative assistant?
almost 20 years.
And do your responsibilities include his scheduling and arranging for his travel?
Yes.
In what city do you reside?
North Hollywood, California.
Now, were you at home on the morning of June 13th, 1994?
Yes, I was.
And did you receive a telephone call that morning?
I did.
And what time did that telephone call come?
Approximately 5:45.
Now, are you certain of that time?
Yes.
And why are you certain?
Because as I heard the phone ring, as I was running to the phone, I turned the light on, and after picking up the phone, I could see the clock.
And I take it it's unusual to get a call that early in the morning.
Very unusual.
And who was calling you?
Mr. Simpson's daughter, Arnelle.
And what did she say to you?
Well, she was quite hysterical, and she just said, "Cathy, a detective wants to talk to you." A detective then got on the phone with me.
And did the detective tell you why he was calling?
No.
What did he tell you?
He asked if I knew where Mr. Simpson could be reached.
And what did you tell him?
I asked him if the children were okay, and he didn't respond. And I asked again, and he didn't respond. And I continued to ask, and he finally said the children were fine, but he must reach Mr. Simpson immediately.
And what did you then tell him?
I then gave him the phone number to the hotel in Chicago where Mr. Simpson was on a business trip.
Now, is this a business trip that had been arranged in advance?
Yes.
How far in advance?
Approximately 2 months.
2 months before?
Yes.
And was this business related to his association with the Hertz Corporation?
Yes, it was.
And did you give the detective the telephone number where Mr. Simpson could be reached in Chicago?
I did.
And was that the end of the conversation?
He said he promised he would call me back.
And did he call you back?
No,
Did you receive another telephone call shortly thereafter?
I did.
And who was that call from?
Mr. Simpson.
Can you tell us what time that call came?
That was within about 5 minutes.
And did Mr. Simpson indicate that he had spoken?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
At what time did you complete your telephone conversation with Mr. Simpson?
I would say 2 minutes. It was very brief.
It was still prior to 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Ms. Clark?
Your Honor. We have no questions of this witness.
All right, thank you very much. Please do not discuss your testimony with anyone. Mr. Uelmen,
We'd like to call Mr. Fung.
I assume that he's arrived?
Yes, he has, Your Honor. As to this witness, though, we would renew our request under Penal Code Section 866 for an offer of proof. I believe that if all he is going to be offered for is what was earlier indicated by counsel, then there's nothing relevant in his testimony.
Well, I believe 866 relates to presenting an affirmative defense at a preliminary hearing. Does not apply, I believe, to a 1538.5 motion, affirmative evidence. But what is the nature of the testimony you expect to elicit from him?
Your Honor, to show the nature of the investigative activity that was taking place at the premises and at what time that activity was taking place.
And how does that relate to the issues in this case, do you believe?
Well, Your Honor, essentially our position is that the officers were conducting a search of the premises prior to the time they had obtained a warrant.
All right, well, we'll just, I mean, I don't think that's really totally an issue, although, I mean, I think that their motivation is an issue apparently. And are you saying somehow Mr. Fung is his testimony is somehow going to bear upon the existence or non-existence of exigent circumstances at the time they entered the location?
No, Your Honor, it's going to relate to the purpose of the actual invasion of the premises, which was to collect evidence of criminal activity and to describe the nature of the activity he was engaged in terms of collecting evidence.
Well, there was evidence elicited from Detective Van Adder with regard to calling the criminalist and waiting for the criminalist to arrive, and something about a presumptive test done on, I think it was the stain on the Bronco, so it seems to me that it might generally be relevant to the issues. So I'll allow you to call him.
Thank you.
Face the clerk and raise your right hand, sir.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause and opinion before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You be seated. State and spell your name for the record.
My name is Dennis Fung, D-E-N-N-I-S-F-U-N-G.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Fung, could you tell us your occupation?
I'm a criminalist.
And by whom are you employed?
I'm employed by the City of Los Angeles Police Department.
All right. And could you tell us what a criminalist is?
A criminalist is somebody who collects evidence, analyzes it, and presents his finding in a court of law.